hundreds of parts and 5 tons of oak. Now the region's newest masterpiece is ready. It's a vaulted ceiling destined for Bury St Edmunds.
The cathedral's Millennium Tower was finished a few years ago, but it's only now that what's being called its crowning glory can be lifted into place.
The Millennium Tower looks majestic, but take a hoist on a juddery climb 100 feet up on the inside and another treat awaits. The view from the top is captivating. Bury as you rarely see it. On high it's silent and still, but a few feet down it's all happening. Another giant piece of oak is being hauled up, one section in a kit of parts which weighs 5 tons in total and will be pieced together into a fan-vaulted ceiling.
Really what they're making is a stone vault in timber, and I think if you were doing it by hand it would probably take 10 years to make, and they're making the whole thing in a year, which is quite extraordinary.
They're confident it'll fit, and it's easy to see why. Lasers were used to map the inside of the tower. Readings taken from 29 million separate spots. A 3D computer program did the rest, producing pinpoint drawings.
You are seeing some of the best craftsmanship that's available now, and I think they're very pleased to have the opportunity to display that.
It's been made and is being put together by experts from a Suffolk-based firm. This is what it's like once bolted together, and this small mock-up in the cathedral shows what it'll look like once painted.
I mean, it'd be great to look up and think we've worked on it for sure. I mean, I think with all the colour and the gold leaf and everything else, it'll look fantastic, won't it?
I mean, it's a once-in-a-lifetime, isn't it, really, to work on something like this? So, and it's something that will be here for thousands of years, so, you know, it's great, yeah.
People get it wrong when they say we haven't got craftsmen. We have. We've got lots and lots of individual craftsmen who are still doing all the old crafts. I would say the joinery on this occasion is pushing the edges of the craftsmanship, because it is getting into computerisation and very, very sophisticated machinery for cutting complex three-dimensional curves.
So C32 is what I've got on here.
Okay. Yeah.
C32 there. So and conoid C. So
right.
That's that one. Should be in that top corner.
The work should be complete by March. It will be, they say, a modern-day masterpiece for generations to savour. Kevin Birch, BBC Look East, in Bury St Edmunds.
Extraordinary watching that going together,
beautiful,
isn't it?
Well, now to a 300-year-old building which could help inspire discoveries in the future. Chicheley Hall, near Newport Pagnell, has had just 2 owners since it was built, but its new one is rather different.
The Royal Society spends millions of pounds every year investing in science. Its members include Stephen Hawking and Sir David Attenborough. And it wants to use the hall to bring together some of the world's brightest minds. This report from Nikki Jenkins.
This is the setting they hope will inspire big brains to big ideas. Chicheley Hall, a Grade 1 listed estate for the elite of science.
It's hardly possible to come to Chicheley and not be moved by the beauty of the house and the beauty and tranquillity of the grounds.
Purchased for £6 million, it'll undergo a £7 million restoration.
Chicheley Hall is a very significant surviving example of early Georgian domestic architecture. And that doesn't mean that it can't evolve, it can't change. You'll notice standing in these rooms that they're very fine examples of craftsmanship dating back to the early 18th century. The names of the craftsmen who worked on Chicheley Hall are all recorded in the estate records. We are entrusted with a building that's very special, but buildings can change, buildings can evolve, buildings can accommodate new uses.
The stable block will become a state-of-the-art lecture hall, but it's had its challenges, from bats to bodies discovered during excavations.
This entrance hall ceiling is one of the highlights, of course normally viewed from 2 stories below. There can't be many who've had the privilege of getting up this close to the detail.
Its temporarily hidden treasures range from this Jacobean overmantel to this David Hicks wallpaper, evidence of its last makeover. The Royal Society will be only the 3rd owners in Chicheley's 300-year history.
The excitement is you put really bright people together, fellows of the Royal Society, together, and the ideas that come out are quite different from what you would expect, and often completely mind-blowing and completely innovative.
When Chicheley Hall was built, Sir Isaac Newton was the Society's president. Who knows what world-shaping ideas these walls could witness yet? Nikki Jenkins, BBC Look East.
The region could soon be celebrating a new world champion if flying against the clock through a giant obstacle course all goes to plan.
Paul Bonhomme from Essex flies 747s for a living, but in his spare time he likes nothing better than to climb into his stunt plane.
Until now, it's Country House, one of the grandest in England, is what Audley End is best known for. But stepping out from its shadow is a man who could take fame round here to new heights. Drum roll, please. It's called the Red Bull Air Race, and pilot Paul Bonhomme is on the brink of becoming world champion.
Our next big race is in Barcelona. It's the final race of the season, and it's going to be fairly important because it will decide the winner of the World Championship. I'm leading the championship at the moment with 4 points, which is not a huge lead, but my nearest competitor is, champing at the bit and is obviously going to go all out to win there and try and knock me off the top spot.
The championship is a series of races all over the world. Pilots navigate an obstacle course of so-called air gates. The fastest time and the best flying technique wins.
Our start speed has to be 230 miles an hour or less. After that, well, it's up to you. You can go as fast as you can go. G-forces, there's a lot of that. We're going up to 12, which is hard work. But once you're used to it, it's great fun.
Paul's day job is flying 747s, so why do this?
It is the accolade. Basically, it's a race against some pretty quick guys. There's all nationalities from all over the world flying in it with some very advanced pieces of equipment. So it's just the accolade of being able to beat them, really.
Third or above in Barcelona, and for Paul, the championship's in the bag. Mike Cartwright, BBC Look East, Audley End.
Oh, it looks terrifying.
Good luck, Paul.
Yeah, rather you than me.
Oh, dear. Wonderful weather today, but it is actually the end of summer officially.
Almost. If I look quickly at the studio clock, we've got just under 2.5 hours. Yes, the autumnal equinox is at 19 minutes past 9 this evening, although in the world of meteorology, summer actually finished at the end of August. So what sort of summer did we have? Well, if we take a look at the rainfall figures for Wattisham, they're pretty representative of what happened across much of the region. So if I just explain, the pink bars represent the average rainfall figure for each month, the blue, the actual rainfall figure. So you can see in Wattisham in June, they had below normal rainfall, and this was kind of the picture across much of the region. The figures were generally just below or near normal. Then in July, a very wet month for many of us, and then in August, a very dry month. Of course, there were exceptions during each of these months. For example, in August, Bedford actually had above average rainfall figures. But how did we compare to last year? Well, no surprises there, really. There are the figures for 2008 and 2009. So if we take Marham, 209 millimetres last year, only 155 millimetres this year, so much drier. And of course, we are now in a very dry spell. How dry? Well, if we take a rainy day as one where we've actually seen 1 millimetre of rainfall or more, well, if this is the case, since the 1st of August, Bedford and Wattisham have had only 9 days of rain. And, of course, we're hurtling now towards October. And as Susie said, today has been another very dry and summer-like day. In fact, Wattisham actually recorded the highest temperature in the country, around 23 Celsius, which is 73 degrees Fahrenheit. So out there at the moment, well, quite a lot of cloud, but it's fairly well broken for many of us, and I think this will be the case for much of tonight. Eventually, we will see the holes filling in for a time, and the thickest of the cloud may produce an odd spot of light rain or drizzle, but for most of us, a dry night, temperatures in double figures, with the winds ending up a light westerly. Now, tomorrow, this front pulls away, and as it does, well, we should see the cloud breaking up a bit, but generally quite a lot of cloud, and the computer is indicating there's a very small chance of an odd spot of light rain and drizzle.